Hi, welcome back to Celeste's Test Kitchen. Today we're going to do chicken soup stock. Doing a basic stock is the same whether it's chicken or beef or seafood, but because I had a chicken, today it's going to be chicken. As you can see, I have roasted a chicken and I've got bits of stuff stuck on the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to deglaze this pan first. I am going to turn my, there we go. I'm going to turn on my induction cooktop here and warm it up a little bit so that I can get all the yumminess off the bottom of the pan. A soup stock is a blank slate. You don't want to overly spice it because you could use it if you want to make a gravy. Say you've cooked a roast beef and you don't have a lot of drippings left, so you can break out some of your soup stock and make a gravy with soup stock. You can make a soup with soup stock. It is a wonderful thing to have in your freezer or fridge, just in case. So the basic ingredients in a soup stock are your three main vegetables. Celery, carrots, and onions are the basics. I personally like fennel because I like that sort of licoricey taste. It's not a heavy black licorice taste, but it's one I really like. You will also notice I have left my onion skins on. And I leave my onion skins on because if you want to get a nicely colored broth, you need the color from the skins. They're washed, and I will cut off the root and put it aside. And I will actually cut my onion in half. Oh, you can hear my pot warming up. So now I will put in some water. Just to get all of the bits. So when I roasted the chicken, I started again with celery, onions, a little bit of fennel, carrots, some of which have stuck to the bottom of the pot, but they're not burnt. They're dark and roasted, and any vegetable that you roast is going to impart more flavor. So I will just let this come to a boil so all of the bits that have gotten a bit dehydrated on the side and bottom of my roaster here will come off. All right, so I have cut, going back to the onions and vegetables, I will cut my fennel in half because I really don't need a ton of it. And then I can take it home, and when I make soup, I can add it to my soup. And I'll cut it in half again. And I just need a little bit of celery. I don't need a lot. And you will be surprised if you use onion, carrot, and celery when you're doing a roast or when you're doing a chicken, and then you go to make gravy, you will be surprised at how little salt you need to add. So cut off all the roots. The other thing is, if you are somebody who's going to enjoy making stock, if you keep a waste container in the back of your fridge, you can make your stock with the ends of your vegetables. You really can. So even the peels off your carrots, because you're not actually eating the vegetables in the stock, that will eventually become waste. But it will still impart all of the flavor and all of the color that you're looking to get. So I will, because I'm eventually going to cook my broth in a pressure cooker because that'll make it fast. Usually you will spend a couple hours usually. When I make a stock on the stove, I'll usually take me a couple of hours to get it to where I want it to be. So I will just simply add all my veggies to my pot. Take that one home too. Some carrots. And I'm just cutting them up so that they leave a little more room in the pot. It's not really necessary. There we go. Some extra skin just for some more color. So if you've ever been to a market and you have seen somebody who has perhaps spun their own wool and then knitted their own garments, if you see a really lovely mustardy yellow color. They have dyed their own wool, and they have used onion skins to do it. So it is really a pretty yellow you get from that. So I can smell it already. Can you smell it, Tony? No, Tony can't smell. All right. Just a little bit more. Get this off. And if I use warmer water, it will take no time at all for my pressure cooker to come to temperature. So just a little bit more. And while I'm doing that, I will set a timer for about 30 minutes so that it's ready to go. I have done it in 15 or 20 minutes as well to make a broth, but 30 minutes will give me a nice broth in the pressure cooker that will taste very chickeny and meaty. If you wanted to as well, you could just grill these in the oven and brown them up a little bit, because again, by doing that you're dehydrating them a little bit, so it's reducing them to their essence and giving them a little stronger flavor. So, all right. So I will now try carefully, without getting it on me, to pour all of my leftover chicken bones and leftover vegetables from cooking the chicken earlier into this pot. Yay! I did it without wearing it. Hurrah! There we go. And I have some water here that I have pre-boiled. We'll add it to my pot. You don't want to go more than 2/3 in your pressure cooker. So on the inside you will find a line that tells you so. Before I put the lid on, I am going to make sure the top is tight and make sure my UL valve is working okay. And I might as well wait with the lid off till it comes to a boil, because again, once it starts boiling, it will be a lot quicker to get everything up to pressure. A few things I didn't add. You don't want to add a ton of spice to your broth, because again, it's a blank slate. But a little bit of garlic will add some nice flavor. And I can't think of anything that garlic doesn't make better. Unless, of course, you're allergic to it, in which case you don't have to add it. I usually add a little bay leaf, because that will help enhance the flavor as well. And it's an ingredient in most soups, and you won't notice it in your gravy. And I personally like juniper berries, and I just add a few, not a ton. And there we go. 3 or 4 should do it. I won't add any salt, because again, once you reduce this, it will increase the taste of salt. And salt is something, when you're making your soup, you'll want to add it then near the end of the cooking process, so that you're not getting it too salty or to have too little salt in it. I also won't add pepper, because again, pepper is a very personal choice. Some people like pepper a lot. Some people like pepper not so much. So I will find, I get prepped for these. I bring out a wooden spoon, I put it down, and don't know where I leave it. So I will grab another wooden spoon from my massive collection of wooden spoons. And so any parts of the chicken you don't want. So I have back, I have the neck in here, the back, the wings and the wing tips, because nobody in my family will eat those. So, and again, if you keep your leftover bones and stuff in the freezer, you can throw them in whenever you feel like making stock. It's always a good rainy, cold day thing to do. And today happens to be a windy, miserable summer day, so I could think of nothing better than making a soup stock. All right, come on, boil. Oh, there, I can feel it. funny, when you're cooking on an induction cooktop, you can feel your pan kind of vibrate. So magnetism is an amazing thing. Okay, now our soup stock is boiling. I will put the lid on my pressure cooker. So line up the arrows, turn it shut, and now I will wait for it to come up to pressure. I want it to come up to where I can see both red lines, which is 20 pounds of pressure. It shouldn't take too long. Invariably, see, I can hear it whistling. It's coming, it's coming. If you listen really closely. So if you have trouble with your pressure cooker coming to pressure, things that can happen is the UL valve, the valve I tested at the beginning, which is the little one under here. If it's not blue, if it's starting to turn very, very dark, it's starting to lose its ability to keep a seal, or the seal that is right under the rim here could be losing its ability to hold a seal. And we have all of the replacement parts for those, so don't ever hesitate to come in and get a replacement seal for your Kuhn Rikon pressure cooker. We do not carry Presto pressure cookers, and Kuhn Rikon seals will not fit on Presto pressure cookers, but we do have all the parts for the Kuhn Rikon, including the steam cap that will often go missing. And we also have replacement handles, which is a handy thing to have, so your pressure cooker can live forever. Okay, it's just come up to the second red ring. I will now start my timer for 30 minutes. No, that's not what I wanted. And I will keep it at 20 pounds of pressure for 30 minutes, and I will adjust it by adjusting the heat on the stove top. If your pressure cooker were to go into overpressure, don't panic. You'll hear lots of hissing. Unlike some pressure cookers, this one should not ever go through the top should never go through your ceiling. What will happen is all the steam will come out from here, and you can see where the seal is here. The seal will pop, and you'll wind up with soup boiling over if you went into serious overpressure. But the top will not blow off, the bottom will not blow off. But you will wind up with a mess on your counter if it were to go into serious overpressure. All right, our pressure cooker is done. We let the pressure release naturally, meaning we shut off the heat and let this thingy, the doofer, come down naturally. When this is up and there's pressure, you cannot release the lid on this. So now that it's down, we can open it. You can still sort of see it boiling a little bit. Now we will strain our broth. All the soupy goodness out of it. Come on, there we go. So you can see on top there's little bits of fat. What I usually do is I will set it outside or I'll set it in the fridge, and tomorrow morning I'll come and just lift the fat off of it. Most of the time, all of the little bits of chicken, the little bits of vegetables that have made it through the sieve will stick to that fat cap. If they don't, put your stock on to boil and poach an egg in it. The egg white will pick up all of those bits and clarify your stock. I will just grab a clear glass here and show you the really nice, dark, rich color we have in it. So that's what a chicken broth should look like. It should be nice and dark and almost a yellowish brown. If you don't get that color, don't panic. either your onions, you didn't put the onion skins in and it didn't release the color, or you may have used a chicken that wasn't really, really super browned, or you didn't get all the drippings off the bottom of your chicken pan, or you just used stuff out of your freezer, which is all fine. Things you can use to darken it up would be saffron. If you come here and get the safflower saffron, it will add color and no taste. You can also get the saffron threads that are more expensive than the safflower threads, and they will add a little bit of an earthy, musky taste to it, but it'll give you that nice, rich color. So now your broth is ready for the fridge or the freezer, and you can bust it out and make soup. Just taking this out of the freezer, thawing it out, chopping up and sauteing some onions, you'll have a lovely French onion soup. Add some more chicken from your leftover chicken in a couple of days, and you have a nice chicken soup. Make yourself some noodles. You having chicken and you have no juice on the bottom of it, you want to make some gravy, just use your chicken stock. It is a wonderful and handy thing to have in your fridge all the time. Thank you very much for joining us for making soup broth. Hope to see you again soon.